Praise 102.5 Atlanta's Inspiration Station. What's going on, family? Nico here. Listen, the lady to my left literally needs no introduction. A singer, songwriter, mother, wife, worshiper, all the things. Y'all know her from the group Mary, but she is a solo artist as well, always putting out phenomenal music. We're here to talk about Pray For Me, which is my jam. Please welcome, I'm going to use the word iconic, Miss Tina Campbell. How are you?
I'm good. Well, that was so kind of you. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank
No problem. You literally deserve all those. I mean, the titles are everything, right? But I love your heart as a person. And we're going to talk about that. But we're going to kick it off with Pray For Me, because like I just mentioned, this record is fire. And yes, it's a bop. And my wife is a choreographer, and I know this is how I test the track. Anytime my wife starts to come up with choreography to something, I know it's a hit.
Listen, maybe me and her need to hook up.
Come on.
We need to do a challenge. I don't know.
Yeah, don't tempt us with a good time now. We love to dance a little bit.
Listen, and my household loves to dance too. And I was really supposed to shoot a video and with all have all that, and it just time kept moving and it never happened or whatever. But I'm grateful for this song because it's a tribute to everybody who held me down in prayer. You know, we don't get here by ourselves, even though I'm self-made and I no. I had somebody. I had somebodies.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad that folks pray for me. And then when you talk about a subject like prayer, you know, that's people ain't really feeling that much.
Right.
Especially if they're not in the church.
Yeah, absolutely.
So your packaging of that communication, of that idea, of that subject matter needs to be right if you want it to reach the people who need it probably more.
Amen.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I'm grateful that God gave us an idea that has a bop to it that people want to dance to, and then can remember, like, thank God that somebody prayed for me. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because I'm grateful. Listen.
I'm grateful too.
I am grateful that them folks held me down.
Because people don't understand. They see your life and they see the glamour. I tell people all the time, y'all see the glamour, y'all don't know what the trenches look like.
Baby.
The day-to-day.
Listen.
The balance. And one of the things that I love about you, Tina, is your work-life balance. Because you have been known to take some breaks, but I think they're necessary breaks.
Absolutely.
And like, let's talk about that a little bit. Let's talk about how important is it for your mental health to take those breaks and focus on family and do those things.
It's entirely necessary. I think what happens is a lot of people lose their way because they don't take time to find their way. And I was one of those people that had lost my way. I was one of those people that was so consumed by the industry that I'm in that the faith was guiding me on the stage, but in conflict it wasn't. The faith was guiding me when it was time to do these interviews, but in those challenging crunches, you know what I mean? My flesh was responding first and then God later, you know what I mean? And so I was very reactive to the things that I was dealing with in life rather than being responsive to God. And you got to be honest with yourself and realize that. And I was like, I think I done lost God. I know that God ain't lost me, but maybe I done lost him.
Rediscovering.
And so that's exactly what I did. I went home to rediscover my faith and to just make sure I was grounded enough, because when you're out here in the public, you know, everything that you do, I mean, there's a sound bite. Everybody's capturing everything. It matters. Sometimes you are the only God that some people will experience because they don't know him. And so I take it very seriously to be out there representing God, and I'm throwed off. Like, I need to go back to the crib and get my mind right. So I did. And then I realized that I needed to be there a little longer. Then I got kids, and you know, I don't choose to miss too much of my children's life. And so you have that element. And then as soon as one gets out of that very, what do you call that stage? The stage is where everybody's vying for them. You know what I mean? Absolutely. So I say that's somewhere like junior high school. As soon as one got out of that stage, the next one in it. Now the next one in it. Now I got another one in it.
Yeah,
and so,
exactly.
You know, I ended up being away for a little while, but I realized that time was necessary because there was a lot that needed to be broken. There was a lot that needed to be surrendered. There was a lot that God needed to deal with. And so that I can represent him acceptably. Like, there's no such thing as perfection. So we ain't going to be there until we get on the other side. No. So I ain't trying to be perfect, and I have struggled with perfection. And so that it wasn't about that. It was just about if the first thing that comes out of you is a fleshly response, then go and find the Spirit.
Amen.
So that you can walk in
it.
And so I just went to the crib to find the Spirit so I can walk in it. And so I'm a little better than I used to be.
Right. I love the fact that, like I mentioned before, you took the time and how important it is to take that time. You know, I read somewhere that you had talked about rejection. In this process. And a lot of us, and for people who are listening and watching, you know, it could be tough to know that Tina Campbell also gets rejection.
Man.
Because we think it don't happen to people like Tina Campbell.
If y'all only knew.
But you will be surprised. What is that like? How do you pull yourself out of rejection? You know,
you can't pull yourself out of rejection, but God can, and
Amen.
love can.
Yeah.
I have dealt with rejection extensively. I dealt with it as a child. I dealt with it, and when you deal with it as a child, you live your life from that perspective without even knowing it. And then I dealt with it extensively in my adulthood, and so what happened? And I just learned this year. Okay. So I just learned that a lot of my responses, a lot of how I approached life was in reaction to being rejected at 4 years old. Wow. I perceived that situation to say, you're not good enough. So I always had to prove that I was good enough. I perceived that situation to communicate to me whatever every other people innately come with, you don't. You got to work for it. So I work very hard to prove points. I don't just say something. I always have to prove something. I have been guarded for much of my life because, not that I think everybody's out there to do me dirty, but I just haven't been that trusting. Because when you don't trust the people who are supposed to love you well, when they show you that you can't trust them to love you well because I guess you're not lovable or whatever, then you think that nobody really does unless I do the right thing.
Absolutely.
So I spent a lot of time just trying to do the right thing and be the right person and prove something. And I apologize probably more than anybody in the whole entire world, just trying to make it right.
Right.
So people, you know, so that I can be accepted.
Absolutely.
But when you take time away and you get in the presence of God, you begin to understand through his holy word that we are all accepted. Absolutely. We have been accepted by God. Now, sometimes we have unacceptable behavior. Yeah. But he accepts us. First of all, we're his. Yes. We his. I belong to God. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Like the song say, I belong to God. I belong to God. Right. And so I'm important to him and I'm valuable to him. And I'm not disqualified in being loved by him because of whatever my inadequacies are. And so when you finally get to know that and understand that and you believe that and you live from that place, that's how you get over rejection. Yeah. You don't get over rejection by becoming more successful. You do not get over rejection by proving something to them. If your whole existence is about proving something to them, you're going to always have something to prove. Like a circle. But if Jesus already proved it on the cross, the better thing to do is to accept that and live from that place. And so I'm actually learning to do that. But first I had to discover all that I just told you. And I hadn't discovered it. Wow. I didn't know. I thought, oh no, that's because this, and you know me, and nope, that's because you were rejected earlier on, and you did not understand that you are innately valuable, that you are innately significant, you are innately worthy of love, of acceptance. And since you didn't know that, you started doing all of these things. A lot of us started doing all these things in rebellion to prove that, no, I'm worth it. No, I'm good. Y'all don't see me, but I see me. It's just, and nobody means to do, you don't mean to do that. But because of what you felt as such a vulnerable place in your life, you're trying to prove that that's not what it is. Yeah. And so from 4 to 50, that's how I lived. And I didn't even know that that's how I was living.
You get me emotional.
I got me emotional because I'm trying to hold back tears
because
right now.
Me too. Because I'm in a season and woo. Everything that you just said was spot on in my life right now. I just got to the point where I felt worthy. And there was rejection at an early age in my life. And it took counseling. It took a lot of counseling, therapy, a lot of healing to get to this place. And that's why I think the record Pray For Me is such a joyful record because we all need it. And I think we walk in a daily struggle and it is hard. And there are people who are suffering. And it's just a blessing to see people. Unfortunately, it takes for you as Tina Campbell to say something for people who may not feel they have the platform that you have, to feel like they're worthy enough. But when they hear you say it, it's like, wow, Tina Campbell overcame. She's an overcomer.
And let's make it more authentic. I am in the process of overcoming
Hey.
this. Now, I know I overcome by the blood of the Lamb and
Yeah.
the word of my testimony.
Yeah.
I know Jesus already sealed the deal on the cross, and so I'm not making some statement of defeat because I understand that victory is absolutely entirely mine. But if I have practice, I once heard someone say, practice. Your practices becomes your disciplines. Your disciplines become your character. Your character becomes your identity.
Yeah.
So I have become this person that is identified by a struggle that I was in, by the trauma that I experienced. I have practiced this identity of fighting for me and rebelling and resist because of what happened to me. When really it's just like I just want to chill and be loved. Or accept that you don't love me. I want to accept what God has given to me. I want to accept the blessings of the Lord that make me rich and had no sorrow, and not be so sorrowful for how you made me feel.
Absolutely.
I don't want to live like that no more. I don't want to be angry and intense. And I'll stay ready. You know what? It's too much. It's too much. I'm tired of it. And if you don't recognize that, then again, somebody else is always responsible for your growth, for your healing, for your well-being. And so this is not about anybody and what they did to me. This is about God being so gracious and so merciful that he allowed me to discover these things about myself that happened to me. And now I place myself in his care. So I am in the process of changing practices now. Now my mind is already changed, and I know that I'm overcoming, hands down. I already know that. But my practices have to change because you become, if any man is in Christ, he's a new creation. Old things got to pass away. So we're in the process of old things passing away. And I'm excited. I'm excited about knowing, why I've been this way. I'm excited to know this is not anybody's fault per se. If the devil wasn't, how Jesus sat on the cross and said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. How Stephen, when they was when they was stoning him, he over here saying, Lord, forgive him. Because the thing is, I don't think people really know the depth of their crimes and their sins against you. If the devil didn't have them blinded, if the devil had not hurt them, if the devil had not made them feel inadequate, less than, hurt, damaged, traumatized in some kind of way, they probably would not be doing that to you. Absolutely. So rather than fight people and spend my lifetime being mad at people, I'm mad at the one that made you act a fool. I'm mad at the one that got me mad for my whole life, and we ain't even fighting. So we all fighting the accomplice and the actual the actual one that pulled the trigger. You know what I'm saying? The one that did the crime is getting away with everything. I ain't mad at nobody but the devil. I got a new song coming up. And the song says, unforgiveness is bondage. And I don't want to do it. I want to live. I want to live. I want to live. I want to live, man. And in order to live life and really live it abundantly, you got to get rid of these weights. These weights in your mind, money can't fix that.
Come on.
Stuff can't fix that. Sex can't fix that. Drugs can't fix that. You're going to always be looking for the fix. Jesus is literally the solution because he regulates your mind. He gives you power by the power of his Holy Spirit to change your behavior. And then you can actually, it's a process of overcoming. It ain't just, I made up my mind, but you practice something for 44 years, for 46 years. You think that's just going to stop overnight? No, you got to change your practices. You got to change your reactions. You got to be responsive to God and not reactive to that because you're really good at being reactive to that. All you need is the right trigger. And now I'm aware that there are triggers, that the devil's trying to find some new triggers to hit me with. You're like, I can't get you down with that. Let me see what I'm going to try. Let me try these kids. Let me try these teachers that are not dealing with your kids right. Let me try that playground in locker room when somebody mishandling your son. Let me try somebody misinterpreting you and being adamant about it and then going on scandalizing your name publicly while you trying to do. The devil is looking for a trigger. Absolutely. And you know what? I'm looking for the goodness of God. I'm looking for forgiveness. I'm looking for how God wants me to respond to that because I'm sick of being like a puppet. Everybody and everything gets to control how I feel, even though I front and act like I don't feel it. I'm over here being somebody's straight up puppet. You got total control over me because the minute you walk in the room, I'm furious. The minute you say this, my whole day is thrown off. The minute you do this, even your kids get up and now you just reacting to them. I'm sick of everybody else being Lord when Jesus is Lord.
Absolutely.
Because he don't do me dirty like that. So we just trying to put Jesus in his right place and walk in this overcoming promise that I've been given. I know that I overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of my testimony. So I'm practicing letting my words and my responses to God line up with what Jesus already did.
I love this. Is like you've done so much self-work and you can see it. You can feel it from everything that you just said. That's why I'm looking forward to the album Testify. Because in my mind, when I hear the word testify, I'm literally thinking about each song revealing and bringing us through something.
Yeah.
Like being healing in a different way.
Yeah.
Like, so I love the fact that you named the album that. Because I just feel like you are in a place of just, I'm free.
Listen,
I'm free.
I'm working through it. And what's crazy is I spent a certain time in my life where I remember there was a freedom that I had never experienced. But all I did to get that freedom was I just prayed all day. I fasted all the time. And I stayed in God's word. And so exactly what he said is what I was experiencing. And what happens is we start doing so much work for God that we forget to just be with him and let him be with us and experience all that he is, because we're trying to have the answers for everybody else.
Absolutely.
We're trying to be out there being a solution and have a word. Like sometimes it's just good not to have a word. Sometimes it's just good to just receive a word and let it marinate.
And just let it,
And so, I'm learning. I talk way too much. I talk way too much. But guess where that came from? It came from the rejection. I'm always trying to prove a point.
You trying to defend. Gotcha.
Always trying to prove a point. Always trying to defend something. Always trying to make it right. Like, I never really cared for people. Okay, and I'm going to try to say it the right way, because I'll be saying things wrong. Being liked was not the necessary thing for me. Being the person that everybody, gravitate, that was never the necessary thing for me. But being understood was so necessary that it was like it had me in a chokehold. I needed to be understood. You ain't gotta like me after this, and you ain't gotta forgive me.
But you gonna hear me.
You're gonna hear me because I need you to understand me. So what happens is you spend all this time trying to get people to understand. You're making it worse. You're making it worse. Just sit back and let God do it. And
listen, this was for me. I'm the first person on the couch, the Tina Campbell couch, for Testify.
Listen, I'm on the couch.
You're on the couch.
We
here. Pray for Me is out.
Yeah.
The album. When can we expect that? I mean, I know, and I hate asking this question because I don't really, being in the industry, I hate when people ask. So listen, when the album comes, we'll be ready.
Good.
Because I don't want to put no pressure, because I want it to be right.
Listen, life be out here, life, and I've been working on this record since March of last year, and I just recently got rid of like 3-4 songs. I was like, these are good songs, but these songs ain't for me. This is a song I got to get it to somebody else. Because Warren challenged me. Warren Campbell, my brother, pastor, and producer. So I let him listen to the record. I let him listen to the record down, and afterwards, first of all, he was real chill. And I was like, okay, this ain't good, because I need you hype. And so, I was like, it's good. It's good. I was like, okay, never acceptable. It's good. It's good. It's never acceptable. Not for me.
Nope.
And I'm not doing this perfectionist thing, but excellence is necessary. It's imperative for me.
Absolutely.
First of all, I represent an excellent God, an amazing God. So I ain't finna be out here giving God no regular and average, right?
Come on.
And so what happened was I had lowered my standard, because I was like, everybody else doing it like that, all this high standard I'm holding myself. That ain't even required. Like, I done already proved my point anyway, so I got to put all this pressure on myself to... And Warren said to me, whatever somebody else gave, that might have been their best. Don't you adjust your best because everybody else's best might not be to that standard. Don't you adjust your best. Like, you can't adjust your walk with Christ just because the newcomers don't know. You being held accountable for what you know. You're being held accountable for what you've been given. You're being held accountable for what God gifted you with and how he gifted. So you can't be over here not giving God your best. And so when he brought it to me that way, I was like, I did not give God my best. I was like, with the recordings, with the lyrics, with all videos and all this, I'm doing all of this. Most of the people ain't even doing that, and it don't even matter. It ain't affecting them negatively. Why I got to do all of this?
Right.
And Warren was like, you give God your best. So I went back to the drawing board with the project.
Yeah.
And or not necessarily went back to the drawing board. I just let God be God. If he don't give me something, I'm not looking for a song. I'm not looking for a song from someone else.
There you go.
And I'm not looking for it. I need to on my own, because whenever I do that, the song be whack. And so for solo stuff, if God didn't give me a bunch of music that I realize I'm supposed to give this, I wouldn't do. I don't necessarily have a desire to be a solo artist.
Gotcha.
I didn't necessarily have a desire to be Mary.
Right.
I just realized that that's what God called me to, and I think I'm called to this. And so if he gives me what I'm supposed to give to the world, I have something. But I do realize I'm also a songwriter, so some of the songs that I have, I think they'll be a blessing for somebody else. But the stuff that's just for me, like I have 15 songs on the record. What is the point of that? It's too much. Just stop, Tina. So we just
A lot of people don't do 15 anymore. There's
it's
a lot of
just-
EPs out here.
I don't think I've ever in the history of mankind put 15 songs on there. Have I? That's just too much. Don't nobody need all that. And so we just got rid of some stuff, and I'm letting God do what He does, and then I'm finalizing things. Rather than as a creative, you can continue to create.
Yeah.
And so if you don't put no caps on that, you be over here creating for the next 10 years, and ain't nobody never seen it. Like
Absolutely.
put it out. You know what I mean? So I'm working on it, and I think by the end of this year or the top of next year, it'll be hitting.
Well, God's work on you definitely shows, and we cannot see it. Pray for Me is available now. My record, Testify, is on the way soon. So it's coming. It's coming. It is the one and only Tina Campbell. Thank you so much for joining me. You listen, I'm gonna rewatch this myself for me, because you said a lot of things that I thought was necessary, and I pray that this blesses somebody as much as it blessed me. So thank you so much. You're very welcome. And I'll just tell everybody, y'all can keep up with me at I Am Tina Campbell. I am not online as much as most folks are. I'm not on social media like that. But when I get on, it be fun. I likes to have fun. And so, you feel like following me, I'm at I Am Tina Campbell everywhere. Well, I got to get my TikTok account back because one of the fans done got that. So we got to get that back. But anyway, get it back.
Get my stuff back. Give me my stuff. So I'm working on that. But I am Tina Campbell everywhere. And I just want to say to everybody out there, if you are one of those people that ever said a prayer to me, a kind word whenever you bought a record, you listened to something, whatever, if you have been a blessing to me in any way and I don't know it, thank you. This song, Pray For Me, it's for you.